This video is going to be a part 2 about Let Me Help You Lunatics, which is a term that I had made up in, 2022 when I was homeless at 16. Well, quote unquote homeless. I really was just calling it my transitional period, but people want to beat things in your head to make them feel as depressed as they are about their situation, even if you don't even really see yourself as in like the exact same predicament as them, but that's another thing. So yeah, I made up the term "Let Me Help You Lunatics" in 2022 after a slew of hilariously chaotic events, because a lot of things had went really left. I actually still have videos of it. Don't really know if I want to put those here though, because I had kind of like got to the point where I was trying to make this about the systems as a whole and not make this channel about the whole thing I used to have going on with the abuse evidence videos and that whole situation where I had over 1,950 plus abuse evidence videos, and then CPS snitched about them and got them deleted and then ended the case. All that bullcrap that happened in 2022. And, well, no. I just try to not make this about all the bullcrap that happened in my previous situation. I mean, of course I'll still mention it sometimes, since, like, this channel does revolve around, like, my experiences and others, but I really don't even want to, like, bring all that stuff back up, because I really kind of want to move on from all that stuff that happened. But basically, the first time I tried to leave my previous situation of the narcissistic family system and the scapegoating, well, basically the cash for kids system abuse, the type of abuse that you go through with your family system and the cash for kids system, that's a better summary. So, first time I tried to leave that situation at 16, things had went a little left, because basically I had made a drop shipping business that didn't really go well, but I did get a little bit of money from that, I'm pretty sure. I was taking out trash for $1, stuff like that, trying to sell shoes on eBay, not eBay, OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace. That honestly went kind of left too. And actually, no, I used to have some videos about how I tried to like sell the shoes at this church, and it was a bunch of mess with that. And the pastor had dementia, and a lot of I don't even know. But anyway, I was doing that to save up money, and then someone I know had let me borrow some money. Well, not let me borrow, they let me have it. But I really wanted to pay them back, but I'm starting to realize that I'll probably never be able to, which luckily they didn't expect that. So yeah, I had $1,127, but I couldn't get it on my debit card because there was a whole situation where like I had to figure out how to get a debit card to be able to buy the Greyhound ticket and all that stuff, which I did end up buying one, but I didn't end up getting to get on the Greyhound because of all the mess that happened with my money and all that, which it was kind of whatever. I was like, even if I don't get on this Greyhound, maybe it'll be like, what is it called? Like a smoke and mirrors type thing, because I had actually used my real name for the ticket. So I was like, maybe at least if I don't get on this Greyhound, they'll actually think that I'm in this state that the Greyhound was supposed to go to. But anyway, yeah, I wasn't able to get the money on the debit card, and so then I had started to like honestly get depressed because I didn't think I was ever gonna make it out this situation that I was in. And so then it's kind of funny because I'm now starting to have the memories. I even used to have videos about this rideshare thing I was trying to get that basically was scamming me, to be honest. Because, like, the lady would be like, she'd be like, okay, I'm outside, or I'll be there at 10 and all that crap, and she would never, ever show up. And then eventually we had just gotten to this big argument, because I was like, why won't you just tell me that you don't want to give me the ride, instead of playing all these weird mind games and having me sitting outside for hours waiting on you? And that's the thing. I was offering to pay her the whole $1,000 plus just to, like, help me get to the state that I was trying to go to. And it definitely wasn't even worth that whatsoever. The Greyhound ticket was only like $80. The state was only like an hour or two away. Honestly, not even far enough. Definitely not for the type of situation I was trying to get out of. And yeah, so she was playing a whole bunch of games. I honestly want to make like a psychological term based off of her. Kind of like the Let Me Help You Lunatic one. I was going to call it the Veronica complex or something like that. But anyway, yeah, so she added to my betrayal trauma. But anywho, so money wouldn't get on the card. I got depressed, started spending the money on food. I was buying boba. I was buying mocha lattes. I was buying Subway. I was buying Philly steak and cheeses. I was getting like different stuff that I could cook because I didn't think I was ever gonna end up getting out the situation. So I was like, well, I guess this is it. Let me just eat some Subway. And that's the thing. That was like still, well, no, that was a little while after all the gut issues had started. So it's like I'll eat stuff and I'll have to take breaks to even eat it because of all this digestive stuff and constantly being in pain. Okay, hold up. Have to take a breath. And I have a lot of saliva buildup. Is that oversharing? I don't even know. But yeah, so all that had happened, but I don't even remember exactly what happened, but basically there was this whole situation that kind of stirred up before something with my Munchausen situation, and my mom getting me put in this Jim Crow era self-confined thing for bad black kids, quote unquote. And it was a whole bunch of mess with that. I had videos of all that. Honestly, I think I still have videos left of that, but of course I don't have the evidence channels up anymore because I'm trying to like move on from that whole situation. So anyway, it was really abusive. A whole bunch of mess had unfolded, and I was like, I gotta get out of here. And that's exactly why in the How to Escape an Abuse Situation Under 18 playlist, I let it be known that you really have to plan, and you can never try to like escape a situation on a limb or whim or whatever in the world it's called. Can't ever remember what it's called. But never do that because things are bound to go left. And you're bound into where you started again or in like some worse situation because you don't have any of the things that you need. And my relatives had already took the tent that I had bought because I had the $20 tent and they had already took that, so I didn't have that. I didn't have a sleeping bag yet because I had managed to get the money for that. And yeah, so I had to leave on a whim or whatever. And I don't remember much of this situation, but basically, to make a long story short, I ran into a whole bunch of toxic people, even though I was trying to avoid people, because of course, people are just going to report you, especially when you have like missing persons reports out, especially ones that are like based around false labels and stuff. Really, honestly, even if there is no label, because people really don't care about your situation. People want to see other people doing bad sometimes. Not everybody, of course, but like people really don't care and they don't think either. And there's a lot I could say about that, but I already talked about that in plenty of other videos anyway. So yeah, kept running into a whole bunch of toxic people that I had made the term "Let Me Help You Lunatic" for, that kept trying to force me into help that didn't exist, that they couldn't give, and knew they wouldn't give. And basically, a whole bunch of mess happened. There was this one point where this one lady at a hotel, she was letting me in the hotel to shower. But this other lady who worked there, she started crying basically. She started crying and she was like, "I'm sorry, baby, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't, I had to." And then the police showed up trying to arrest me to take me to jail or worse, some mental facility or whatever, some other part of the Cash for Kids system. But luckily I was able to get away from that. And yeah, then the lady who was letting me in the shower, she was mad at the other lady who worked there for calling the police. And it's like, some people refuse to accept the fact that there is no system put in place to help. If the police were there to help anybody, or if there is, or if there was help for people in situations like me and similar or worse or whatever, I wouldn't have even been out there in the first place. So yeah, it's like people are just really stupid and brainwashed, to make a long story short. So that happened. I was able to get away from that. The guards at the hotel, well, one of the guards really didn't like me for some reason. But there's also this thing where, like, if you're a female and well, especially if you're, like, young, if you're a girl and you're, quote-unquote homeless or whatever, for whatever reason, people feel like you did something to somebody and like you got pregnant and you got kicked out for being pregnant, which I could tell so many stories about that accusation. I don't even think I look like I can even carry a baby, to be honest. And it's really weird because most people think that I'm like 11 or something when they first see me. So I don't even really think I look like I could even, I don't even know. I don't really, people are just, it's like a whole bunch of racial self-hatred stuff with that and sexism. And it's like, I mean, even if you're a boy and you're young, people know that, like, if you're really young, you don't really have a way of making money, so they either assume that, like, you're prostituting or you're selling drugs. And yeah, people will feel some type of way about you really whenever you're in any type of bad situation, because people like to make up all these stereotypes to keep themselves up and then put other people down. But yeah, he didn't like me, the security guard. So, I don't know. What do I say after that part? Oh, yeah, I remember. So, the hotel manager was a psychologist. And also, the, no, I'm skipping a whole bunch of stuff, actually. So, I'm gonna leave that at, no, let me just write some notes. Because my phone's only on, like, 20 anyway, so I gotta do this quick. Okay, now I'm about to go to the part that I was skipping. I had to take some notes because I really want to remember what I was just talking about with the whole hotel thing, and I don't have like a lot of battery life for this to be 30 minutes of me forgetting what I'm talking about. So yeah. Okay, so I went to this restaurant and there was a whole bunch of dysfunctional mess with that whole place, but I did meet some people that were decent. And I actually did end up going back there that last time when I left again after getting out from being locked up during this whole situation that I'm talking about now. Because after this had happened, I left again. Yeah. After finally getting into a GED program. Because, of course, due to my situation, but regardless of me leaving, I already didn't get to be in school. So, yeah. After that, then I left again. So, well, and after being locked up, I forgot about that part. So, okay. Went to the restaurant, and I met this lady who worked there, and basically she would point me in the direction of people that she really didn't even know. And it's like, I kept saying that I didn't need help. I was just waiting until 18. I mean, I really wish the money thing would have went right, but people don't listen. And it's like, this is why when you're in situations like this, you really have to have things together before you try to up and do anything or go anywhere. You really have to know to stay away from people, or at least really watch who you talk to. Never talk to people who have like some type of savior complex, or people that are paranoid and have weird assumptions about you, which of course I did try to avoid. I didn't want to talk to these people, but it was a lot of mess with these people, and really just people in that specific area anywhere, maybe even kind of the whole state. That's kind of a side thing. But basically, there's different issues that people have in different places, and I don't even want to go into all that. But yeah, so this is why you have to have your fake name, your fake age, and an alibi for who you are, what you're doing. Also, you never want to look like you don't know what's going on and like you're lost, or like you don't know what to do or where to go. You never want anybody to know that you're quote unquote vulnerable, none of that stuff, because people do things. And that's exactly why I have that's exactly why in the playlist about how to escape a bad situation under 18, I let it be known that people always tell you about pedophiles and all that, but there's a lot of other people that you have to worry about other than just pedophiles. There's lots of other messed up and toxic types of people. I'm not saying that's not an issue, because I did actually run into that the second time I was at the same restaurant, because I had went back there the second time I had left after the whole thing where I was stuck in Alabama for 2 weeks. And then I went back to GA, and then there was a whole bunch of mess with these two pedophiles that worked at the restaurant. One of them had worked there the last time. The other one was new, kind of, and he actually had moved there from Cali, and he would always talk about how like people's daughters needed to have oral sex with him, and how he was doing a whole bunch of stuff to people's daughters all the time. His mom was messed up and she was perverted too, and he actually would talk about how he used to, basically he was a sex trafficker in California before he moved to Georgia. He would talk about he was a pimp and how he quote unquote would help people get money. A whole bunch of bull crap. He even said that he got fired from his last job because he had quote unquote had sex with the boss's daughter and all that bull crap. And there were these two boys there. One of them lived with his aunt, so messed up family system, don't know where his dad was. And then there was this other boy, he had a stepdad, but the stepdad didn't like him or his brother, so the pedophile dude would call himself teaching them game, but really he was just teaching them a whole bunch of perverted bull crap. And after a while, I was like, I gotta get out of here. I mean, I needed to get out of there anyway, because if I would have stayed in Georgia too long, I would have eventually been locked up and sent back to my previous situation anyway. So, I mean, I needed to leave regardless of all that bull crap. And then I called the dude from Cali the light-skinned Mr. Bean pedophile, because he was a light-skinned dude that looked like Mr. Bean from like the mime shows or whatever that was. And he started to be like really mean to me after a while, and he would like talk junk to me and call me stupid, which just gave me flashbacks to the situation I was trying to get out of, because he was mad that I wasn't the usual broken down desperate person that would just fold for anything, and he was mad that I wouldn't get with him, and probably even the obese Mexican dude. And it was just a whole bunch of mess. And he started talking junk about me to the other staff. Then this one lady who worked there the time before when I left the first time, she did not like me. In fact, she was one of those stereotypical generational curse attitude, mean look on her face type people. It was a whole bunch of mess. I just had to get out of there. Now I'm kind of forgetting where in the world I was last at before I went off. Oh yeah, so the point is there's other people you have to worry about other than pedophiles, but I mean you have to worry about them too. And the fibophiles and the other names that people are making up these days. Or the other new terms that they're making up to try to like make things seem less bad. So I'm almost out of recording time, and my phone's on 20. Well, it was on 22. Okay, so wait a minute. Okay, to make things clear, all the stuff that I just mentioned, all that happened this second time of me leaving, not the first time. Just wanted to make that clear. But now I'm about to get back into the whole first time, so I can actually get to the point of Let Me Help You Lunatics. and even of a recent situation I had with some. So, where was I even at? Oh yeah, so this lady that worked at the restaurant had referred me to some quote unquote preacher. He was not a preacher, let me make that clear. I don't know what he was, but he didn't preach and he wasn't a preacher. But I mean, I guess you could consider him the usual person in the pagan hijack and flip around of churchianity that has nothing to do with the original faith of the Yasharel. But anyway, he really wasn't a preacher though, not even gonna lie. But he took me to his, well, okay, wait a minute. So, he was supposedly somebody that worked with troubled or homeless youth sometimes, or at least he referred them to some lady or whatever. And he had issues. He had a wife that looked like she was beat down, hadn't slept in 3 years. They didn't even live together because the mess between them was so bad. And he was talking to me and she was trying to tell me something and he was telling her to wait for him to finish. I mean, I guess it makes sense when I'm saying it now, but the way it was happening, it wasn't good. So, anyway, she looked beat down and somebody had did roots on her or something. She looked really, really bad. Black circles around her eyes. Yeah. Not like black guys, but severe sleep deprivation. I could tell that from a black guy. So, I mean, honestly, she... Okay, anyway. So, he was telling me about how they could try to quote unquote help, even though I kept saying I didn't want help, but I knew that none of these people could help me anyway, and that I needed to help myself. But people will try to force things on you. So he told me that he was gonna pay me to clean his church. It was some building he was renting out in a shopping center by a Dollar Tree or Dollar General or something like that. Some other store. So I vacuumed the floor and then he gave me a couple dollars. And I don't really remember too much about the situation, but I remember things hit the fan when he tried to refer me to some lady that has her own office in the quote unquote church who's a psychologist. First of all, I mean, I guess if somebody does deliverance and has knowledge in psychology, that could be a good thing, but I can never trust somebody that claims that they believe the Bible and then they also have a psychologist in there. Really, it's just, if you know, you know. But yeah, so she was definitely racist. So basically, he called her and he had told her about how I was out there, and she was like, I have a place that you can live, but you'd have to clean up to live there. So first of all, it sounds like I'm about to be a slave. And second of all, I never wanted to move in with anybody. That's not something that I want. And I didn't want anybody's quote unquote help anyway. And that's the thing. People like this are the type of people that are the reasons that people like me don't talk to people, but then they call people like me paranoid and they say that I have trust issues and all that. But yeah, anywho. Not that that's what she said, but I'm just saying that in general. So she said that bullcrap about me moving in with some random person, which honestly that's kind of what you have to do to be able to afford places these days. You gotta room share or whatever they call it. But she said that, and then she was like, but to live here, you have to stop cursing. You have to promise that you're going to stop stealing and selling drugs and doing drugs and fighting. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, you definitely sound like the usual mental health professional. Because, of course, when you have narcissistic, Jezebelic house Negro moms like I did, you run into mental health professionals, not even psychologists, because I had never even seen one of those. Just a psychiatrist. But you run into mental health professionals like that, and you really get to see how they really view really everybody, to be honest. Some of the things that happened in my Munchausen situation, really my cash for kids system abuse situation, would have never happened if it wasn't for some of the racial stuff. I mean, of course, everybody in the Cash for Kids system gets treated horribly and gets tortured and drugged and trafficked and all that, regardless of what they look like. But the system was made for eugenics, and there are like certain sexist and racial philosophies that these people run off of that can make you get treated a little worse or just sometimes different than they may treat some other people. And so, yeah, then I kind of started tensing up and kind of dissociating a little bit because she was saying a whole bunch of accusational bull crap that wasn't even me. She also said if you're running away, you're going to have to stop doing that too. And it's like, well, for one, I'm not going to be able to move in with somebody without parents' permission and probably even some court stuff happening. So, I mean, stuff like that is always going to be bullcrap. Well, wait a minute. And by stuff, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to call it. I was going to call it, like, solutions, but I mean, that's not a solution. So she said all that, and I was like, well, and then she was like, I need to call your parents to ask them about this. And I didn't even want that anyway, but I was like, well, for one, if you talk to them, they're definitely going to start threatening you because they're going to be mad about, like, the fact that they already think that there's people who are really actually doing stuff to help me. I mean, of course, there were, like, the people who advocated for me from the support groups or even people that, like, I had met in person, but I mean, the people from support groups, they did more than anybody else ever did, but I mean, they weren't gonna, like, step up to do much in person. They really couldn't. Some of them lived pretty far away. One of them did actually, like, a couple people typed up witness reports. One lady who actually used to work in the foster care system in Canada and then a couple of other programs had actually typed up a witness report for me and left her her credentials and her number and email, and the doctors just got mad because basically they felt like this was going to be somebody to help me come back and sue them later on. But I mean, other than that, nobody was really doing anything in person. So I was like, you calling them is just going to put, of course, me at risk, but probably even you. And then the lady just said that I was paranoid, and then she had told the dude to just wait a minute. She was like, pretend you never met her and just drop her off in the parking lot of some hospital because she's paranoid that her parents are going to do something. And I mean, if they're violent, she may be violent. A whole bunch of bull crap. But that's how mental health professionals are. And of course, I would have never even agreed to a situation like that anyway. My mom definitely wouldn't have because of honestly, no. No. Honestly, with how that psychologist lady, how she was, that's like honestly the perfect person to be a flying monkey or an enabler to my mom. But still, that would have went left. I didn't want it, so no. So that is one example of a let me help you lunatic situation. Second one I got into with the same lady at the restaurant. Still have a video of this whole situation. Basically, it's honestly really funny to talk about, but well, no, I just gotta keep going because I don't have that much recording time left. So, the lady at the restaurant referred me to some other person that she really didn't know, claimed she knew the lady, said that the lady had helped other people that worked there. And like you may have seen if you watched the video, it's in the description of my other video about Let Me Help You Lunatics. Honestly, I don't know if I really want it there though because it has links to like a lot of the other stuff, which like I said, I don't even really want my previous situation to be brought up anymore, especially not in video. So I may end up removing the link to that video, this whole situation, or I may just download it and re-upload it without the links. That's probably what I'm gonna do. But basically the lady looked for vulnerable people and she tried to drag them into her voodoo cult. And she basically was like, anybody who comes in my house has to become a demon priest to stay here because I want to feel comfortable in my house. I got out of there ASAP. I didn't even want to go in the first place. But this is exactly why. Never let people try to force quote unquote help on you. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, there definitely is no system put in place to help. But anybody that's trying to force anything on you has issues anyway, and just don't. Because for one, I've already learned enough from living with my relatives to where I really don't want to live with someone else ever again, even though I probably would have to. But I just feel like living with my relatives was enough, and I don't want to do that again. And yeah, I only have like 1 minute left of recording time or space or whatever. So I guess I'm going to have to break this into a part 2. But I feel like this is probably a better explanation than my first video of why I actually made the term "Let Me Help You Lunatics." So, anyway, I guess that's kind of a summary of the situation. The lady wanted everybody who came in her house to become a demon priest. I wasn't about to go for that, and I ended up leaving. And then I even have a video of how she went on this whole paranoid breakdown where she was like, "You better not come back to my house and steal my TV." And I'm like, where in the world am I going to even put a TV when I'm sleeping on a bench outside of a restaurant? But yeah, so she was like, I got a gun under my pillow, which honestly, she never even slept in her room. She always slept on the couch. In fact, she wanted to sleep on the couch with me, which was another, it was another no-no. It was another no-no. And I don't even know what else to say about the situation. I just got out of there. And in fact, I was on the support groups too, and I was talking to people in the support groups about what was happening. One girl was like, you need to leave your stuff behind and climb out the window if you have to. Forget about your clothes, forget about the blankets, forget about all that. You need to get out of there. And yeah, so I really feel like the first time you try to leave a bad situation underage, you learn your lesson about what to do and what not to do. And what I learned is do everything possible to avoid other people. If you don't do that, all hell is going to break loose and you're going to be back where you started off at. And so, yeah, this is the part 1.